VA denied my PTSD claim. Here is how I appealed it. It's your real call plus breakdown.
The same, I think. It sounds like. Absolutely, it is. Anytime on this side of the grass, man. As far as I know. All right, good. All right, man. So is now still a good time for us to get to it? Okay, perfect. Thank you for setting up the call and taking some time out your day for me today. I appreciate that. I won't hold you up too long. The call here is really designed to answer all your questions. So there's a couple of ways we can get that done. I can lay it all out for you, tell you what's what. But if you've got questions off the rip, we can start with those instead. So how would you like to go? You got it. Well, I hope so. All right. Yeah, let's get to it. So before I tell you kind of how we do what we do, let me make sure that you and I are on the same page as far as who we are and what we do. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So we are just a medical evidence company. And what I mean when I say that, it sounds obvious when I say it, right? But what I mean is, we'll write you the medical evidence you need to win the claim at the VA. We'll build that evidence package around a Nexus letter. There's no problem there, but that's all we'll do, right? I can't give you any coaching or claims advice. I can't file a claim for you. I'm not a VSO, so we're just the medical evidence piece. Okay, and then we do everything via telehealth. So it's real convenient. It's all email, phone call, web-based, so you don't have to travel to work with us, but that also means there's certain claims that we just can't work with you on. Anything that requires you to be in the same room as my doctor ain't going to happen, right? So we've got to make sure it sticks to, so it's things like mental health, migraine, sleep apnea, GERD, those sorts of claims, we can work on those. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Then how we do it is this. I'm about to send you another email, and this email has a link to our webpage. So if you decide to go forward with us, you would click on that link, you would put the medical evidence you want us to write for you in your shopping cart, and then you would check out, just like you were buying something off Amazon. Once you complete checkout, you're presented with a calendar. So you'll be able to schedule your time with my doctor. So it'll be a telehealth conference. It'll either be a phone call or video call. You can do it from wherever, as long as you can speak in private on the phone. But set that up at your convenience, right? So you'll be able to schedule that. And then once that's done, it takes my doctor about 3 to 5 days business days to write your evidence package. So plan on about a week. And then he's going to deliver that to you, and then you submit that to the VA, however you normally submit claims. Okay. Whole thing takes about 3 to 6 weeks from the day you get started. So if you don't even get started till May 1st, you're probably filing the claim by mid-June, that kind of thing. And then that whole time, if you ever have any questions, I'm your guy, right? So you just either email me or text me, and any questions you got coming in, I got answers coming out. Too easy, right? And then as far as payment goes, so you saw the prices there in that evaluation email. Those prices are due up front before you see the doctor. Then when you win, you keep everything. So, depending on what you want to work on, this claim could reasonably take you from the 20 that you're at now to 50, 60, 70, somewhere around that range. 70 is pretty a reasonable expectation there. So if, you get that bump in pay, that's about $1,200 or $1,300 a month bump. You keep all that bump. That increase in pay, that's all yours. We don't see a dime of it. Same thing if you're getting any back pay, whether it's $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 coming to you. Good for you, man. We don't see any of it, right? But you would pay the $847, for example, up front, but nothing on the back end. Okay, and that is it. What questions did I leave unanswered? Okay, that happens a lot. Actually. Yep. No. We will provide you with all the evidence that you need to file that appeal. You won't need to go get anything else. We'll write you a fully developed claim packet. But here's what's happening. So the VA is actually two organizations, right? We think of them as one, but they're actually two. So when you go and you get diagnosed with something, you're going to the VHA, the Veterans Health Administration. These are the doctors. So they'll diagnose you. They're responsible for your care, your treatment, your therapy, your well-being. They'll prescribe you pills. They'll prescribe you a CPAP machine, what have you. But they won't write you a Nexus letter. Okay, so just put a pin in that for a second. Now, when you go to file a claim, we're actually dealing with the VBA, Veterans Benefits Administration. These ain't the doctors. Typically, they're not even vets. They're just government employees, right, or bureaucrats. So when you're filing a claim for service-connected disability and compensation, you're dealing with the VBA, and they're governed by the CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. And the CFR tells them they've got to see a nexus. Well, you already know the VHA isn't going to write you one. So how do you get a nexus, and what is it? So a nexus is just a connection between two things. That's all that is, right? And it's not a diagnosis. So you need both to win a claim at the VA. So just because you've been diagnosed with something from the VHA doesn't mean that it satisfies the criteria for the VBA to award it. You've got to have that nexus letter. So there's 3 ways to get a nexus letter. We deal in one of them. The first way is, you were seen and treated for it on active duty. There's something documented in your service treatment records. Then you go get diagnosed for that something, whatever it is. You satisfy those 2 criteria. The VBA sees those 2 criteria and says that's a nexus. Claim awarded. So those are guys' direct connections. So that's like your back and your tinnitus, right? Those are direct connected. Where we are is primarily secondary claims. So what that is a legal document written by a medical professional that uses the VBA's own language to illustrate how the condition is connected to service. So that's what you'd be getting from us, is a legal document that connects it to service for you. That's what you need to appeal it. You need new evidence to appeal it. So we would be providing you with everything for that appeal. And then the third way, just to kind of put a bow on it, is kind of the PACT Act stuff. You may qualify for PACT Act too. You serve during the time and in the locations that are covered under the PACT Act. So how you satisfy the requirements for that is you go get diagnosed with something that's on the list. So what the PACT Act is, it's an act of Congress that liberalizes Nexus at the VBA. So what that does, it allows the VBA to presume that you've got this condition because of when and where you served. So that's what that does for the VA. What you need to do is still go get diagnosed with something that's on the list. So the PACT Act is a list of dates and times and locations and diseases. So those are the 3 gimmies that the VBA, Congress made the VBA give you, those 3. If you served at that time, at that location, and have one of these diseases on the list or conditions that's on the list, now all you need to do is provide the diagnosis. Once you have all 4 of those, now you've satisfied the requirements to be for the VBA to award you that claim on a presumptive basis. They'll presume that nexus was caused by when and where you served. So those would be things that are on the PACT Act list are things like rhinitis, sinusitis, asthma. It's mostly respiratory conditions. There are some digestive issues, so GERD and IBS come up a lot, and there are some cancers as well. So those you don't need my help with. You don't need anybody's help with. You just file them under the presumptive, but you've got to provide the diagnosis. Okay? So we're in that second lane, and we can absolutely help you file that appeal. Well, we can't file it for you. We can get you the evidence you need to file that appeal. And then mental health. The other thing, insomnia and PTSD are all under one umbrella at the VA. So it's all mental health. So what you'll get from us is called an IMO, independent medical opinion, and it details out the nexus and the symptoms and their social and economic impact. So the VBA just rates insomnia, PTSD, anxiety, depression, basically everything other than eating disorders under one umbrella called mental health. So by detailing out your symptoms and their social and economic impact, that's what gets you that 30, 50, 70% rating, whatever your symptoms qualify you for. Sure, hit me up. Okay. So like I said, mental health is one big umbrella. So they will see, I'll give you an example from my own claim. I originally filed my mental health claim as PTSD due to a stressor while I was in the Air Force. got denied because they couldn't validate the stressor. So then, after a few years of other, medical documentation, I refiled and under generalized anxiety disorder. The VA saw that as an appeal to the PTSD that had been previously denied because it is one big bucket for them. Mental health is just one big bucket. You can't file for anxiety now as a new claim. You're still appealing the PTSD rating. Or that's what I did, right? So I just had to basically tell them I'm wanting to appeal this claim because it's mental health, and I understood that, but I want it recategorized as generalized anxiety disorder. So then they understood that, yeah, so you just write that letter saying, hey, I've been currently diagnosed with something else. I know it's all under one big umbrella. I'm not filing for what you denied me for. I'm filing for this new condition that I've been diagnosed with. And oh, by the way, here's the evidence to support the claim. I hear the gears clicking and the light bulbs going on. Okay, cool. So I will send you the link to our webpage so you can take a look at that. And then if you decide to get started, you'll have it. If you have any questions for me, just hit me up, right? Text me, email me. Either way, both work. You bet, man. Absolutely. Thank you for the time today. Have a good weekend. All right, you too. Bye. Okay. So this veteran is battling with the VA on a mental health claim. He had a similar story to mine. So he had a PTSD claim that was denied. They couldn't validate the stressor, and now he's trying to work on an appeal. So he's being seen and treated at the VA for a mental health condition. We're going to, if he works with us, we're going to validate that diagnosis and any new diagnosis that comes up while he's in session with our psychologist. So he'll get all of those diagnoses, and then we write it in a very particular language that the VBA requires. I mean, almost requires, right? Some of it is required. So we write that in a required language that illustrates the social and occupational impairment. That's the key that the VBA is looking for. So to win a claim at the VA, you've got to have the diagnosis and the nexus. I covered that with the vet. You just heard that. Those are the two things you need to win the claim. But if you win it at 0, it's all for nothing, right? What's the point? Yeah, you can get care for it, so that's good, right? But there's no compensation coming. So in order to earn compensation, it's got to have a social or occupational impairment on your life. So if you can show social and occupational impairment is by illustrating your symptoms, how your symptoms impact your life. Then that's what gets you to that 30, 50, or 70% rating because you are socially and or occupationally impaired. Okay, so that's what we'll do. All right, so on to the next one.